ॐ विश्वं दर्पणदृश्यमाननगरी तुल्यन्निजान्तर्गतं पश्यन्नात्मनि मायया बहिरिवोद्भूतं यथा निद्रया यः साक्षात् कुरुते प्रबोधसमये स्वात्मानमेवाद्वयं तस्मै श्रीगुरुमूर्तये नमः इदं श्रीदक्षिणामूर्तये बीजस्यान्तरिवाङ्कुरो जगदिदं प्राङ्निर्विकल्पं पुनः मायाकल्पितदेशकालकलना वैचित्रचित्रीकृतं मायावीव विजृम्भयत्यपि महायोगी वयस्वेच्छया तस्मै श्रीगुरुमूर्तये नमः इदं श्रीदक्षिणामूर्तये तस्मै श्रीगुरुमूर्तये नमः इदं श्रीदक्षिणामूर्तये। ॐ सहना भवतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यं करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै। ॐ शान्तिः शान्तिः शान्तिः। सदाशिवसमारम्भां शङ्कराचार्यमध्यमाम् अस्मदाचार्यपर्यन्तां वन्दे गुरुपरम्पराम्। So, what was already taught, Shrutrasya Shrotram, Manaso Manaha, Vachoha Vacham, etc. All this thing is now illustrated in this story, very interesting story in the chapter number 3. And this is a style employed by this Shruti to convey the same message, to make us understand the principle of the Vedanta. Akhyayika, a story is used here. And here basically the Brahman, which is Jagat Karanam, which is the cause of creation, well, he is a Ishvara, and Brahman alone manifests in the form of Jagat because it is a cause. And this manifest Jagat is viewed in threefold way. We call it as a Adhyatma, Adhibhuta and Adhidaiva. So all the forms and functionaries like our eyes, ears, with their expressions, they are Ishvara's knowledge ultimately. So Adhyatma here means basically Ishvara in the form of an individual. Jiva's body, mind, sense complex. Same Ishvara in the form of this Jagat that we experience, that is Adhibhuta. And so Adhibhuta, the world, and Adhyatma, that is myself, the individual, well, they are interconnected. And because world is actually not how they are interconnected, because both are basically not something totally different. Both are made up of Panchabhutas, 5 elements, and you can gain varieties of the experiences because there are varieties of means of experiences, and which are again connected to the Jagat. So, every sense organ is connected to the every particular type of object. Every sense organ has a domain, has a sphere. So that this eyes reveal forms and colors, etc. Ear reveals sound, etc. Same way. So they are connected. And so that connection is through certain law. Why ears can pick up the sound? There is a law. Why eyes can pick up the forms or colors? There is a law. And therefore that connection between Adhyatma and Adhibhuta, connection between the individual and the total or the world, well, that connection is always through the various laws, and Ishvara himself is in the form of all these laws. So, and those laws are called Adhisthana Devata. Not just law. That law we may call it as a inert, but Ishvara in the form of law, because Ishvara is Jagat Karanam. So Ishvara is manifest in the form of Adhyatma, the individual. Ishvara is manifest in the form of the variety of the names and forms, the world. And Ishvara again is manifested in the form of all laws. So Ishvara in the form of laws is called Adhisthana Devata, presiding deities. So if you look at this creation, the Jagat, from the standpoint of one law, then there is one Devata, we call. And that is how Prithvi Devata and Surya Devata, etc., etc. And this is how we look at the Devata. So everything is Ishvara. And that is divided into three. Adhyatma, Adhibhuta, and Adhyatma, Adhibhuta are connected through the law. Well, that law, Ishvara also, again in the form of that law, Ishvara in the form of a given law is called Devata. And that is how in a Shastra, basically on Adhibhuta you can superimpose Ishvara and worship. Like a sun is there. A sun is a part of the Adhibhuta. And that sun basically is looked upon as a Ishvara, we call Surya Devata. So Ishvara is total, but Ishvara is looked upon from the one standpoint, from the standpoint of sun. We call it Surya Devata. And therefore, on the Surya itself, taking the alambanam of the Surya, you can worship Ishvara in the form of a Devata. And so that you can, so this is how it is, because Adi Devata is present in Adhyatma and Adhibhuta. That's a connecting link between the two. And therefore, you can superimpose a Devata on the Adhyatma also and can do meditation. You can superimpose Devata in Adhibhuta also, in varieties of the things, and we can do Upasana. So Surya Devata, we have all the Grahas also as a Devata, right? Grahas also, all the planets, also are looked upon as a Devata. That's how we have a Navagraha Suktam. If Graha is a Graha, why should we invoke a grace of a inert Graha? But we look upon that Graha as a Devata. And so we need a certain grace from him, whatever. So that is how basically the Devata is a connecting link between Adhyatma and Adhibhuta. That's a law. But Ishvara is manifestation. Ishvara only is manifested in the form of laws. And that particular law, Ishvara is looked upon from a particular law, is called particular Devata. So anyway, so Devatas such as this Indra, Agni and Vayu are but nothing but Parmeshwara in different aspects. And Agni is a presiding deity of, now you can see here how Devata is present. Devata is present in the world also, Devata is present here. So it's a connecting link. So Agni is the presiding deity of a Vak and the organ of speech. And Vayu is the presiding deity of the sense of touch and also of one's strength. And so that's how there are varieties of Devatas. Blessing here, Adhyatma. And those Devatas are blessing even the Jagat also. And each Devata is nothing but Ishvara alone in that given aspect. So, this Agni, Vayu, Devata, etc., their existence and consciousness and their individual powers are because of Ishvara alone. Ishvara, which is a Jagat Karanam. Brahman alone, which is called as a Jagat Karanam, which is the cause of the creation. That Ishvara alone has lended the consciousness to each Devata, has even given existence to each Devata, and a particular form has a particular powers also. That is also given by Ishvara alone, because basically Ishvara's manifestation. Ishvara, who is a Sarvashaktiman, who is omnipotent, the power is manifest in a particular form, and particular power manifestation in a particular form. So existence and consciousness are common to all Devatas, but the power of each Devata is unique. This is very essential to understand the story. So each sense organ also is a unique, having a specific area of operation, even though all of them are existent and consciousness also. And the existence and consciousness beside their individual powers are drawn from Ishvara or drawn from Brahman, who is manifest as individual and Jagat, who is manifest as Adhyatma and Adhibhuta. Both are blessed. Both are definitely enjoy the grace from Devatas, and Devatas are nothing but basically manifestation of Ishvara alone. And therefore Ishvara in the form of Devatas definitely shower the grace on Adhyatma and Adhibhuta both. So and so individual has a certain powers is also due to Ishvara, and that is who is manifest in the form of individual and this Jagat, both. So here we have a very interesting story illustrating this very distinctive presence that is Ishvara in all the functions at the level of Adhyatma and Adhidaiva. So this story of course is also meant to praise this Brahma Vidya. So we come to know that even Devatas like Indra also, from the story we come to know that Indra also had a guru. Of course Upanishad, if one studies Upanishad, one will know. Because through, Indra went to Prajapati, that has been talked even in the Chandogya Upanishad. But anyway, so this here also in Kenopanisad we come to know that, well, that even Devatas like Indra etc. had a guru and who were taught this Brahma Vidya. So all these Devatas are very, well, of course, very highly worshipped. All these Vedikas, basically invoke them and these Devatas get oblation from them all the time. But it is Ishvara basically who gives Devata a particular status. Each of them has got a certain status on account of Ishvara. Each of has a certain powers on account of Ishvara. Ishvara is omnipotent. And that is any manifestation of a Devata in a given form is a manifestation of Ishvara, basically. And therefore, well, definitely that form has a particular power. So existence and consciousness is common. Consider these two Devatas, Agni and Vayu. Existence and consciousness is common in all. But this has a certain power and this has a certain power depending upon that particular form. Could you follow? So Agni has a certain power and Vayu also has a certain power. Well, but that power also is drawn from Ishvara. Ishvara who is omnipotent. Ultimately, each form of each Devata is a manifestation of Ishvara. Ishvara being a material cause and efficient cause of the entire creation. So, well, so these Devatas who are getting oblations from these Vedikas basically, but that is Ishvara alone who gives them a status of a Devata, as exalted Devata, having certain powers. So anyway, whatever Vibhuti, the glory they have ultimately belong to Ishvara. But Devatas, once, got a victory over the Asuras and they forgot that due to ignorance, of course, they appropriated that victory to themselves. So to remove this avidya, that ultimately, well, whatever is here, an individual also can say, why Devata? Here whatever I am is basically Ishvara, really speaking. Yes, Swamiji, then where is Jiva? Jiva is in the domain of ignorance. Jiva has no existence at all. I have already told you yesterday, Chidabhasa, if you really found what belongs to Chidabhasa, you find there is nothing. So Jiva exists only in ignorance. There is no Jiva. If you want to say there is something called creation, that is Ishvara alone. That is Ishvara alone. Existence of a Jiva other than Ishvara is ignorance. Really. Jiva exists only in ignorance. There is nothing called two things. Even if you want to say two things, well, we have to say this Nama Rupatmak Jagat, including here, my buddhi is Ishvara, my mind is Ishvara, my free will is Ishvara, my senses are Ishvara, my pranas are Ishvara, my body is Ishvara. What is not Ishvara? Ishvara alone on the form of the subtle body and gross body and causal body, everything. And basically everything is Ishvara. Ultimately everything is born of, suppose if you say, well, born of, you leave aside right now Karana Sharira, suppose. Because Karana Sharira is born, we should not say. Yeah, Karana Sharira is basically Prakriti or Maya. That is not born, it is Anadi. Yeah, so don't say all the three Shariras are born. Two Shariras are born from that Karana Sharira. That is how it is Karana. And therefore Karana Sharira was there all the time. And that is in the form of Maya. Well, anyway, I should not keep on repeating. Sometimes I keep on repeating the things. You understand very well. But what I am saying is, ultimately everything comes from Ishvara. Maya also has its existence and consciousness basically from Ishvara alone, and therefore Maya resides in Ishvara alone. And basically, so this is how Maya resides, what's the relationship between Maya and Ishvara, don't ask me that question. We have already discussed in Tattvabodha, and if there is a leisure, I will give that answer sometime. But basically, you can refer to Tattvabodha. Well, that is how it is. Anyway, so to remove that avidya, that basically devatas have appropriated the whole victory on themselves. Well, that's our power. Because of our own power, we have won the asuras, etc. Well, then, to remove that avidya, well, they had to be taught that everything ultimately is Brahman. So Brahma Vidya has to be taught. Because of Brahman you had power, and your existence is Brahman existence. Your consciousness is Brahman's consciousness. And well, your power as in the particular form is also due to Brahman or Ishvara. So ultimately, because Brahman manifests in the form of this Jagat, that's how you can say that way also. Whatever in manifestation is there, power, etc., that form, etc., all is due to Brahman alone. Very existence and consciousness, very existence of the form is the existence of Brahman. Then where is a separation of a separate, where is a question of a separate form, etc., other than Brahman. So anyway, having gained this knowledge, well, they excelled over other devatas, and then Brahma Vidya, thereby Brahma Vidya also is glorified. Anyway, this is the story, and I will just quickly go what we have already seen. First 11 mantras we have seen, I had checked it, and but we'll go very fast. So Brahma devebhyo vijigye, first mantra said, Tasya Brahmano vijaye devaha amahiyanta. Well, so Brahman won a victory for the devas. Well, so there was a war between devas and asura for the control of heaven, and devas won and got all the honors. But actually behind the victory there was invisible Parmeshwara, who is Shrotram, etc. And whatever the power is there. So Indriya is very, very interesting thing. You see, Indriya and Devatas are equated. What we learned in the chapter 1 and 2 was Adhyatma. And behind Adhyatma, Brahman is there. Shrotrasya Shrotram Manaso Manaha. So behind all the senses, actually the Brahman gives a status to the Indriya as an Indriya. Because of Brahman, the ear, the eyes are eyes, and ear is ear, and mind is mind, and prana is prana, etc., etc. And now the same thing, they drop Adhyatma and they have brought Adhideva. That's all it means. So the sense organs and devatas are equated, and that is correct, very correct. Sense organ also light up the world, and devatas also light up the world. Div dhatu is there. Div means Deotane. So ultimately, who are effulgent, well, they are called devas. And so devatas also light up the world, and this sense organs also light up the world. So they have dropped Adhyatma and brought Adhideva. So instead of a Shrotram, well, Shrotra Devata. Instead of a Vak Devata, Agni, etc. So that is how they have brought. And then here also again the same. Devatas got the status of a Devata because of Brahman. There we said sense organ has a status of a sense organ because of Brahman. That's we said Shrotrasya Shrotram, right? So here in the same mantras, to make it more simpler, what we can do is that mantra number 2 of the first chapter we should take. And instead of a Shrotram, the first Shrotram, which is in the 6th case, you have to write Devata. Shrotram, instead of Shrotram, you write Shrotra Devata. So basically, the Devata's got, Shrotra Devata has got a status because of Brahman. So that is how we can say. Shrotrasya Shrotram, instead you can write Shrotra Devata has a status of a Devata because of Brahman, and therefore basically it is, Brahman is a Devata of a Devata also, we can say that way. So anyway, this is actually that mantra only has been, to make that mantra understood, it has been given a story form. But instead of Adhyatma, they have taken Adhideva. Behind Adhideva also Brahman is there. Behind Adhyatma also Brahman is there, because Brahman alone is a Jagat Karanam. So Ishvara alone has manifested in these forms, Adhyatma, Adhibhuta and Adhideva. And so they are taking now Adhideva. Behind Adhideva also that Ishvara is there. Anyway, so Devas won and got all the honors, and behind that victory was the invisible Parmeshwara, who is Shotrasya Shotram, etc. The Aikshanta Asmakam eva ayam vijayah, Asmakam eva ayam mahima, tad daisham vijagnyau tebhyah pradurbhavuva tanna vyajanat kimidam yakshamiti. So they aikshanta. So, well, basically they thought that they were the solely responsible for their victory. Devatas thought like that. And so victory and glory belong to us and only to us, because Eva is there. Asmakam Eva. Asmakam. Well, all this victory, I am Vijayaha. Asmakam Eva. This victory belongs to us only. And so they fail to recognize the one who is behind this, this victory. So, her is there. Her is in the sense of, as in the story goes, well, basically, so then in order to bless them, these devatas, by correcting their thinking, then Brahman assumed a celestial form manifested in front of them. Brahman assumed a special form. We can call it avatara, and that avatara is Upanishad avatara is a yaksha. Pauranic avatars are many. Several avatars are there, not Dashavatar. There are several avatars are there. 24 or something, more than that I think. They say several avatars are there. But anyway, so here in Upanishad, in Veda itself, the concept of avatara is there. And so Brahman appeared in the form of yaksha in front of them. And Devas who were celebrating their victory and did not know who was this celestial form that suddenly appeared before them. So they saw that form but did not have the Vishesh Jnana, knowledge of the identity of the form. So, well, definitely. And so Yaksha will very prasiddha, it is in front, right in front of them, but still there is ignorance about it. That's what it is. That's what it is. Self is prasiddha. I think we must have, in one lifetime, we must be, I think, speaking I. And more the ego, more I. And therefore all the time I. So prasiddham. So I am is so prasiddham. That is yaksha. But who is that Vishesha? What is that yaksha? What is the identity of yaksha? That is not known. I am is known. Prasiddha. But I am Brahman is not known. That is how Uma has to appear. Anyway, so therefore, basically yaksha is very prasiddha right in front of them. But there is ignorance about it. So Devata have a samanya jnanam, yeah, he is a yaksha. And very, very fascinating form. Very, very fascinating form Parameshwara took, commanding reverence and everything. And so they had a jignasa. Because the form was such, even though it was prasiddham, they could see that yaksha. But they wanted to know who the yaksha is, basically. And so they have a desire to know. So yaksha's form is so compelling. But therefore they cannot, but they have a desire to know. And then definitely they decided, let's send our Agni first to know what is the identity of the yaksha. So te Agni mabruvan jatavedaha etad vijanihi kimidam yakshamiti tatheti. Well, definitely Agni is the one who is invoked in all the Vedic rituals. Agni is basically we don't invoke all the devatas in the rituals. We invoke first Agni, and Agni does a job for others, for all the devatas. Agni carries all the oblations and everything. So same way here also. And Agni has a one more advantage, that it is in the nature of brilliance, and so which lights up the dark areas. So here also it is a situation wherein there is a darkness or ignorance regarding the identity of the yaksha, and therefore they definitely approach Agni first. And who is that Agni? Jatavedaha. Wow. So Jataveda means one because of whose grace one gains all the forms of wealth. Definitely. Agni is the one who is invoked in all the Vedic rituals. You get different karma phala. So Agni is basically because of whom one is able to gain karma phala through the rituals, and therefore Agni is ultimately a cause of prosperity. And therefore, so that is called Jataveda. Anyway, so they approach Agni, all the devatas approach Agni first. And Agni also thought, well, this is not a very big job for me. It's a simple job to find out what that yaksha is, etc. And so he said, Tatheti. Okay, let it be. I will find it out. No, don't worry. Just relax and have a soup, etc. Have a drink. Don't worry, and I will just go and come back and I will find out. Tad abhyadravata tam abhyavadata Kositi. Agnirva ahamasmi iti. Abravit. Jate vedava ahamasmi iti. Tadabhyadravata. Tadabhyadravata means Agni approached Tad means that Yaksha. And tam abhyavadad. Then definitely Yaksha asked him, Kositi, who are you? Agnirva ahamasmi iti. Well, Agni answered, I am well known Agni, and he should stop there. But this is ego. That's what. So, if I stop at I am, that's very fine. Then it is very easy for teacher to fill up the gap that I am Brahman. But you don't stop there. That's the whole life. A child just say I am, or maybe saying few things. But as the person grows, he keeps on adding all the embellishments. And by the time he becomes 70, he is under the heap of all the embellishments. And then Brahman, which is all then cannot appear there. So I am so and so, 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 so and so. And so Brahma Vidya remains far away. Abba. If you say I am, that's fine. That is enough. Then teacher will fill up the gap that you are Brahman. Anyway, chalo. So he also did not stop. He said, Jata Veda Ahamasmi. Anyway, so okay. So he said, well, everybody knows me, basically. And actually he should have stopped. When he said, Kositi, who are you? It indicates, to find out everything in the creation. Who is that and what is that? Better you know yourself. That's what he wants to convey. Kositi, who are you? I mean, if you really know yourself, you would not come here to know who that Yaksha is. Because that Yaksha is Brahman. So if you know yourself that you are Brahman, you would not come here at all to objectify me. Because you have come here to objectify Yaksha. Who that Yaksha is? Better you know yourself. That's how he asked. Yaksha asked the question, Kositi, who are you? And that fellow, egoistic person, well, he did not understood. Egoistic means basically who likes to give an identity of oneself on the base of ego. A limited entity. And you are not satisfied with that limitation. So you keep on adding, thinking that one day you become limitless. Ego will always remain a very limited entity. A distance between a limited thing and limitless is always limitless. Distance between a limited thing, a distance between a limited ego and limitless. Brahman is always limitless. And that is how at the end of the life, everyone is same samsari, same complaining, same discontent, same fellow. Swamiji's word. Same fellow. Yeah, same fellow. He has added so many embellishments in terms of knowledge and in terms of education, in terms of power and in terms of prosperity and everything. But ego has become bigger and he thought he is about to reach to limitless now. Kya baat hai? The distance between a limited ego and limitless is limitless. Either you know you are limitless, but that opportunity has gone now. You are 75 now. It's gone. Anyway. Okay. Better luck next time. Anyway, that's how we say, don't waste time. Understand you are limitless. Don't waste time in anything. Just drop the base, the qualification for Vedanta is just one. The person in whom there is no agenda. And if at all there is an agenda, that agenda is to know oneself. There is no agenda. To become something, to change something, outer situation or myself. No agenda of changing. What is limitless. More the orientation of changing proves that the less appreciation of what is. There is a less appreciation of what is. So at the level of name and form you want to change. And definitely your whole orientation is towards name and form. Vedanta's orientation is what is the substratum, what is the adhishthanam of name and form, what is the truth of name and form. That once you inquire into that, well, you are the truth of every name and form, not one name and form. So don't try to change one name and form. Try to bring some modification. I want to change myself. I want to do this. Even to bring a sadhan chatushtaya sampatti also, after certain years, and if you are able to appreciate, drop that idea also. And even if you want to change your mind, embellish your mind, you can do if you want to do. But don't think that, my moksha has some concern with that. Has no relation to that. Ultimately, you are free, you are limitless, you should know it. And therefore, operate the means of knowledge, that is Upanishad, with the help of teacher, and give up. That's how process of becoming is a samsara. It always keeps you a very limited entity. Whatever you do, however you do, you may become an most exalted person in the world. Still, anyway, this is just by the way. So this sometimes we get a chance to say something else on account of the story. Anyway, so he should have stopped. Kosidi, when he said, he should have stopped. It was a first blow to his ego. So he did not understood it, and he recovered from that and tries to be proud. He said, don't you know me? I am Agni. I am Adhibhautik Agni also. I am the first deity to receive the oblations in all the rituals. And I am also Adhyatmik Agni. I am present in everybody's body as a digestive fire. And in anything that is born, I am the temperature. And without me, nobody can live. If the temperature is not there, Ram Bolo Bhai Ram. And therefore, it is gone. And so, and not only that, I am Jataveda also. Not only as a Agni, I am all pervading, but I am Jataveda, because of whom everyone becomes prosperous through the karma phala, through the rituals. Okay, then Yaksha thought, now I have to give him a lesson. Tasmin tvai kim viryam iti. Api idam sarvam daheyam yadidam pruthivyam iti. Yaksha asked, what is the power in you? Then Agni answered, api. Api means if there is an occasion for that, if there is a necessity for burning anything, whatever is there in this Prithvi, whatever is there anywhere, I can burn it. And of course, here it said Pruthivyam, you can include any loka. If it, Agni is everywhere, and so it can burn anything that is combustible. I can burn it, he said, anywhere in any loka. Then says mantra 6. Tasmai trunam nidadau etad daheti tadupapreyaya sarvajavena tanna shashaka daddhum satadaiva nivavrute na etad dashakam vignatum yadetad yakshamiti. Yaksha, placed a blade of grass in front of Agni and said, burn this dry blade of grass. Agni approached, tadupapreyaya. Agni approached that blade of grass with all sarvajavena, sarvabalena. So, with all his force, tanna shashaka daddhum, but he could not burn that blade of grass. Satataiva nivavrute, and he retreated from there and told to this devas, na etadashakam vignatum, yadetad yakshamiti. I could not find out what this yaksha is. I could not find this identity of yaksha. And it is true. Yaksha is a Parameshwara. Parameshwara could not be objectified. That's what it wants to convey. Parameshwara could not be objectified at all. So whoever tries to objectify, this is Agni. Agni means basically is a Adhishtan Devata of a speech. So the words also could not reach to the Brahman. That's what we have seen also. So because Brahman is not having any kind of a jati, Brahman does not possess any attributes. Brahman is basically not connected to any action. Brahman is basically not he is not even Dravya substance. Brahman is not a name of some kind of a very conventional name of something. And therefore Brahman cannot be revealed by the words of any language. And all the words of any language, all the languages. And therefore definitely Agni, which is Adhishtan Devata of this Vak, cannot reach. That's what has been told in the Upanishad. Yato vacho nivartante aprapya manasa saha. So then words along with the mind, of course, they written without illumining Brahman, because Brahman is basically not an object of, could not be objectified through words also. Then why are you teaching? I have already answered. Please don't ask me. Why are you teaching? Why Atma Jnanam is necessary? Now better refer to our Atma Bodha also, or Atma Bodha, yeah, correct. So that is how we have to see there, because this will otherwise go on and on. So na eta dashakam vijnatum. I am not able to find out, well, who is this yaksha? Yadeta yaksha. Well, okay. Then Devatas thought, well, this Vayu is subtler than Agni, naturally. Subtler means more pervasive, and he could reach and he could find out. So, atha Vayum abruvan Vayu, he Vayu, etad vijanihi kim etad yakshamiti, tatheti. So, then came the turn of Vayu and deity of air. Other Devatas asked Vayu, I mean to find out this Sarupa, the identity of the Yaksha. And Vayu also thought he could do that job. He is one who sustains everybody, who provides life to every living organism. And he accepted that assignment. Even though it is very, of course, a simple task, he must have entertained some doubts because Agni failed. Agni also is very powerful, but he failed, so he had some doubts. Well, but then he thought, okay, tatheti, I will go and find out who that Yaksha is. Tadabhyadravata tamabhyavadata kositi Vayurva ahamasmi iti abravit matarishvava ahamasmi iti. Tadabhyadravata, tad means Yaksha. Abhyadravata, approached. Who approached? Vayu. Vayu approached the Yaksha. Tam abhyavadata, that belongs to Yaksha. Tam means Vayu. So, abhyavadata, Yaksha spoke to Vayu. Yaksha told to Vayu, talked to Vayu. Kositi, who are you? Vayurva ahamsmiti, well, etc. So, basically he said, I am well known. Vayu, I am known as a Matarishva, etc. And Vayu must have thought, let me ask a question. When he says, who are you? I should ask a question, are you breathing or not? I should have asked to Yaksha, are you breathing or not? Yeah, I am breathing. Well, then I am present in you. So I am the very breath of you. But he restrained himself and he answered, well, I am the famous Vayu. I am the one who makes everybody live. Any living being has to depend upon me. And I do not remain in one place. Matarishva. Matari means Akashe. Shvayati, Gachati iti Matarishva. Well, I keep moving, blessing everybody. I am the God of strength. So, word aham is there, etc. in that our mantra. So, Vayurva ahamasmiti, aham is there. That shows Vayu's pride, etc. So, I am known as Matari. Means they are not recognizing. They are not recognizing whatever strength we have is all on behalf of Ishvara, who is omnipotent, who is a Sarvashaktiman. And they were glorifying themselves as actually the glory of Ishvara. But that is why the Ishvara has to teach them a lesson. So, I am such a great person, he says, that I go to places where nobody can enter. Well, Agni cannot enter to a certain thing where the Vayu enters. And therefore, so the Yaksha asked the same question to Vayu, that question which he asked to Agni also. Tasmin tvai kim viryamiti api idam sarvam adadiya yadidam prithivyamiti. And therefore, he says, Yaksha asked, what is the strength in you? So, here also Api is there. Api means, if there is an occasion for that, I can lift anything. I mean, if there is an occasion for lifting anything, I could lift. With my own strength, I can lift anything and get it into the space. And you know very well, Vayu is a god of strength. So, and its forms. Vayu's different forms, we had no hurricane and whirlwind and whatnot. All these are his forms, tornado and everything. So, okay. So, Yaksha responded then. What? Tasmai trunam nidadau etadadatsva. Iti. Iti means quotation. Before that, you should put in a quotation. Tadupaprayaya sarvajavena tanna shashakadatum sa tataiva nivavrute na etadashakam vignatum yadetadyakshamiti. Tasmai trunam nidadau. So Yaksha placed the same blade of grass in front of Vayu and said, lift this blade of grass. Vayu approached that blade of grass with all his force. Sarva Javena means with all his force. But he could not lift that blade of grass. Well, Vayu retreated, and then Vayu retreated from that place and said to Devas, well, sorry, I could not find out what this Yaksha is. I could not find. Now the turn of our Indra. Atha Indram aburvan Magavan etad vijanihi kimetad yakshamiti tatheti tadabhyadavat trasmat tirodade. So after Vayu and Agni well retreated without knowing anything about Yaksha's identity, Yaksha's Swarupam, then other Devas well pleaded with Indra to go and find out what that Yaksha is. And Indra well definitely, while Devatas should approach him only because ultimately Indra is the chief of all the Devatas, and he was addressed here as a Magavan, very well known name. Magavan name has appeared somewhere else also. In Chandogya also it is there. I think in 8th chapter Prajapati, while teaching to Indra, say he addresses as a name Magavan, etc. etc. Magavan idam shariram martyam, etc. etc. Attam mrityuna, etc. That mantra is there in Chandogya, where he has been addressed as a Magavan. Magavan is who deserves worship. And definitely Indra deserves worship because he has defeated all the Asuras. He is the presiding deity of the hands. And hands means basically the power, the strength. So he is a presiding deity of the strength. And well, so Indra thought that he would succeed. He confidently approached the Yaksha. As he went near the Yaksha, of course, Yaksha vanished. Agni and Vayu, of course, had some audience, of Yaksha, but they could talk to Yaksha, but Indra could not even get that also. And well, then Indra should feel more humiliated compared to Agni and Vayu, but no, he did not feel humiliated. His pride that I am Indra, he wanted to show the identity to Yaksha, and he wanted to know what Yaksha is. Well, his pride that I am Indra, etc. had gone. He became very humble. That is the place, that is the point where he got a knowledge. And that's what it has been told in mantra number 12. Sa tasmineva akashe, let's read it. Sa tasmineva akashe striyamajagama bahushobhamanam umam haimavati tagam hovacha kimetadyakshamiti. Now here in this mantra we will have to add some more words in order to make the sense complete. To make the sentence complete here. So as such the meaning is very obvious, but we should add few words, then it becomes totally clear. Saha tasmineva akashe, after that you should add sthitavan. Well, so he remains there. Saha tasmineva akashe. Saha means Indraha. Indraha tasmineva akashe, that means akashe means that place. He remained in that place. He did not return. Even though Yaksha disappeared, he did not return. He stood there. And of course he was humbled completely, whose pride has gone now completely, because Yaksha did not give him any audience. But he did not leave and he stood there at the same place with devotion and surrender and humility, etc., which are very prerequisites for gaining this knowledge for the Brahman. So, well, in the same place where Yaksha was, well, a Stri, a woman appeared. So, tasmineva akashe striyam ajagama, and so tasmineva akashe sthitavan, and then you have to, well, of course, supplied all these things, that in the same place, well, striyam, well, the woman appeared, ajagama, means he appeared. So, well, Indra with folded hands went near her. So, with all these things we have to supply. And who was she? Uma. She was indeed Uma, who is a Brahma Vidya in this context. And because Brahman cannot reveal itself. Brahman is already self-evident. And so Brahman is, it cannot reveal more than what it has revealed now. Brahman is self-evident. And therefore Brahman cannot reveal further. It is already self-evident. In a human being it is 100% self-evident. Totally. You are self-conscious totally. And the consciousness has been revealed in a human mind totally. I mean, there is nothing more to reveal for Brahman. And therefore still Brahman is not known, then somebody else has to come in order to tell that the Yaksha there is nothing but Brahman. And that is the means of knowledge. Means of knowledge reveal that you, who are self-evident, is nothing but limitless Brahman. That's what somebody has to tell, that is a pramana has to tell, means of knowledge has to tell, and that means of knowledge is called Brahma Vidya, and that is, definitely Vidya is a Strilinga, and therefore it has been shown as a form of a Uma, and that is Strilinga also. So only Brahma Vidya can reveal Brahman, and Brahma Vidya also reveal how you know. Brahma Vidya also cannot reveal self-revealing Brahman. It's already self-revealing. So any pramana cannot help, basically. Any pramana cannot reveal Brahman. Only whatever you have added as ego, etc. No, I am is self-evident. I means consciousness. Am means existence. And so I am self-existent, self-consciousness, self-evident. My existence is revealed by myself. No pramana is there required to reveal myself. But basically, after I am adding lot of things. I am a human being, I am this, I am that, and all these notions have to be dropped. And that is what the role of a Brahma Vidya is, to drop the notion. And then self-revealing Atma shines in his own glory. And you will say, well, I am self-evident, limitless consciousness. But how does that limitless comes? Well, how does limitless come? Well, limitless can come because you are limitless, but you are not taking yourself as a limitless because of this ego, because of your identification with the physical body and this the subtle body and everything. You consider yourself as a limited being, and that is what you have to drop. Well, then what remains is this limitless consciousness, which is self-revealing, and that is how Brahma Vidya basically helps the person through Neti or through Mahavakya, etc. Well, to drop all the notions which you are having about yourself. And that is the role of a Brahma Vidya. Brahma Vidya cannot reveal. Self-revealing, self-illumining Brahman is illumined by Brahma Vidya. Cannot be. Never. Otherwise it is not self-illumining. It is illumined by the means of knowledge called Brahma Vidya, or by Shastra, or by Acharya's words, etc. No. You are already self-revealing, self-illumining, but you take yourself to be other than what you are, by nature, by reality, and that has to be dropped. And that is how Mahavakya helps, by equating yourself with the Brahman, and also help by Neti, etc. That's what yesterday we saw. And so Naiti. Don't take yourself as an ego. That's what it says. Don't take yourself as a human being. Don't take yourself as a this, that, etc. Male, female, this, that, and having certain form and certain attributes, etc. Anyway, so Shruti, the very knowledge, well, of course, Shruti also is a Strilinga, and so you can say even Uma means Shruti. So the means of knowledge appeared before him, where the Indra was, and she was Haimavati, the daughter of Himavan, or Haimavati means one who is effulgent like gold. So Uma is definitely a daughter of Himavan, Himalaya basically. Anyway, or here Hema means gold, so Haimavati means who is effulgent like gold. Vidya is like that. Vidya is definitely very, very effulgent, which removes the darkness called avidya. So having approached that Uma, Brahma Vidya, Indra prayed to her, well, Tam hovacha kimeta dyakshamiti. Tam means Umam. Saha means Indra uvacha, to that Uma. I approached her and said, please tell me who was this Yaksha, kimeta dyakshamiti. What is the Swarupa of this Yaksha? Then Uma, who is in the manifestation of this Brahma Vidya, reveals the identity of Yaksha in the next mantra. What is that mantra? In chapter 4, first mantra, Sa uvacha. Sa means that Brahma Vidya uvacha. Saha uvacha. She said, Brahma iti. That's all. That Yaksha, that Yaksha is none other than Brahman. Brahmano va etad vijay mahiyadvam iti tatoha eva vidanchakara brahmeti. So Uma, who is in the form of Brahma Vidya, said that Yaksha was none other than Brahman. And then she said further, Brahmano va etad vijaye mahiyadvam. The word etad means an adverb here. So it shows all your valor, I mean, etad means all your valor, all your glories, all your honors, and all your praises, etc. You are getting a lot of praises. And you are, your glories have been, your strength, etc. has been glorified because you have won. But basically, all whatever is responsible in the victory is all due to ultimately Ishvara alone, from the Brahman alone. Brahman as Ishvara provides you with the power to fight, and Brahman as the Vastu, Sachidatma, has provided existence, consciousness, and the abilities to the senses. Shrotrasya Shrotram, right? So ultimately, Shrotra functions in presence of consciousness. Shrotra cannot function. Shrotra cannot hear it, because the very Shrotra, to hear, the ears have to become conscious. And that is not their consciousness. They borrowed consciousness. And Shrotra, existence of the very ears is due to Brahman. So Brahman, which is existence, consciousness, basically has, gave you the existence and the consciousness, and also the ability also is due to the abilities also are due to the Ishvara alone. And so the senses are senses, basically because of Brahman. So any glories of Brahman, both in terms of existence, consciousness, or in manifest form, that is due to Brahman alone. So that means everything is ultimately Ishvara. If you take a manifest form also, it is Ishvara. You just say no, existence and consciousness. Okay, it's Brahman. No, but all this, we want to even the count names and forms, everything. Name means that ears, and that particular form, sense, particular sense organ. Okay, and the ability, we want to count everything. Okay, Ishvara. Could you follow what I am saying? If you want to say just existence, consciousness, you say, every organ is Brahman, sense organ is Brahman. No, we want to count that organ as such also, and the ability to hear, etc., everything, that also we want to count. Okay, Ishvara. Everything is Ishvara. If you say no, name and form is Mithya, then okay, everything is Brahman. No, but we want to count name and form. Okay, it is Ishvara. Then where are you? Where are you? Well, there is nothing. That's how Jnani say everything is Ishvara. They say, Jnani say everything is Ishvara. Ajnani say everything is Brahman. Both are right. Everything is Brahman or everything is Ishvara. He says everything. That's how they are able to sing the glory of Ishvara. They seek the glory of Ishvara and they sing the glory of Ishvara. Yeah, that's how they write all the stotras, everything. How can Swamiji, Ishvara is Mithya, then how can they write? Yeah, that's a question. Now, Ishvara is Mithya. Now let's discuss that question. Ishvara is Mithya. Then who worships whom? Yeah, but then you are individual or you are Brahman? Oh, but I am individual right now. I don't, you have told me that you are Brahman, but I have to still realize it. So right now you are Jiva? Yeah, I am Jiva. Then he is Ishvara. If you are a Jiva, right now then he is Ishvara. Better pray him, so that one day you will become you and he becomes one. Yeah. The better is you discover that you are basically a Paramatma, or you are basically Brahman. Better you discover that. Whether Ishvara is Mithya or not, that leave it aside right now. Yeah. First you discover that you are limitless consciousness or you are Brahman. Once you discover that, automatically Ishvara becomes Mithya. And Ishvara is not Mithya, means don't throw Ishvara. Don't throw baby along with the bath water. Yeah. What is Mithya? There the Satyam is. So whether are you able to throw yourself totally or you are retaining something? No, I am retaining that I am consciousness. Every other thing I will throw. That's what Bhagatyag Lakshana is. And therefore, basically, what is Mithya has to be thrown. And so all names and forms are Mithya. Whether it is a total or whether it is an individual. Individual, there are three shariras, and in the outer world there are all this. In the world there are, even say, Sthula Prapancha, etc. All names and forms. Names and forms are Mithya, means discover there itself there is a Paramatma, as Adhisthana, as a truth of that name and form is standing there. And therefore, definitely one has to understand that way. And to discover that you need a grace of Ishvara. So, Ishvara is Mithya, and therefore, I cannot worship him anymore. I cannot worship because he is Mithya. Yeah, then you will be in desert. You have not discovered yourself that you are Brahman. You consider yourself as a Jiva and you want to throw Ishvara. It is not possible. You understand that Jivatvam is Mithya, basically you are Brahman. Same way Ishvaratvam is also Mithya, and ultimately that is also Brahman. And that is what the identity is. And therefore keep on worshipping Him till you discover an identity with Him. Till you discover an identity with Him. And after discovery, can I throw? Somehow he wants to throw. He wants to throw away pujas and he wants to throw away prayers. Somehow because as such also he did not like. And now he got a chance to throw away because he is mithya. Yeah, better understand the identity between you and he, and you and he. Better understand that. And after understanding the identity, also worship. How can I worship? Then who has worshipped? All these Gnyasis have worshipped or not? Shankaracharya ji has worshipped or not? For what then? Why should I worship? Then who has given you this knowledge of identity? Who has made you free from samsara? You are suffering a lot. You were suffering a lot in absence of this knowledge. With Ishvara's grace, you are getting all knowledge and strength. Everything is due to Him. And you have prayed and so He has answered. And better be thankful. So, as a Badita Jiva also, keep worshipping Him, saying Him salute. Thanks to Him that you have gained knowledge. And that's how all the Jnanis have worshipped throughout. Even after getting Jnanam also, they kept on worshipping, and worship in the form that even they could compose so many stotras and what not. What an amount of glory they sing. We could not even see more than just a form. They sing so much in that form. They could see the glories in that form, and they could put in a verse form or in a prose form, anything. And therefore, don't say that, you may not say, but in your mind you want to throw away Ishvara. Don't throw away. And you cannot throw away also. Mithya cannot stand without Satyam. And therefore, basically, Ishvaratam is Mithya, but that becomes Mithya automatically. Ishvara reveals its own Mithyatvam. Who are you to throw away? Who are you? A small jiva. And so, basically, still you consider yourself as a individual, and you want to throw away Ishvara. You want to retain your individuality and you want to throw away Ishvara. Forget about it. And just keep on worshipping, keeping silence. Just worship. And pray one thing. If you pray more, then He will not answer. He will not give you Brahma Vidya. Brahma Vidya is at the exclusion of everything. Because moksha is at the exclusion of everything. If you have a choice that I want artha and moksha, then He says better you have artha. You are not eligible for moksha. You are eligible for moksha when you understand you have a Purushartha Viveka. Basically, if you do Purushartha Viveka and you understand between artha and moksha, actually I want moksha. Between kama and moksha, I want really moksha. Between dharma and moksha, I want really moksha, and you have become a mokshu. And you ask for the knowledge, you have become a jignasu. Then He answers. Till then He will keep you busy with certain pockets of artha and certain pockets of packets of even a kama, and you will remain busy in that. So basically your prayer is answered, you gain a knowledge, and in that knowledge itself he reveals the identity between you, the individual, and Himself. That is the job. But how do you say that He answered? That's what Bhagavan said in Bhagavad Gita. That I remove the ignorance. I generate a Jnana Vritti, this Brahmakar Vritti, Akhandakar Vritti in the person, and remove the darkness or the ignorance from the person. And that's how it reveals the identity. And therefore, basically Ishvara is Mithya. That is, in the equation we understand, but Mithya means basically Ishvara is Brahman. That is Ishvara, the Ishvara-ness. Ishvaratvam is Mithya. We reveal, in order to reveal that Satyam. When I say Sarpa is Mithya, not to throw away anything. That the reality that rope is there, to reveal that rope, which is reality. In order for that only we say, snake is Mithya. So Mithyatvam is not a throwing away anything. Mithyatvam is to reveal the identity, the Satyam, the truth behind it. That's the only thing. And therefore, So I hope I have answered, people have asked, and that's a really nice question that, well, Ishvara is mithya, then how can we worship, etc. Just don't worry about it. You individual, jiva is a mithya, and that is also mithya, and well, definitely the Ishvara also is mithya. Let the mithya jiva worship mithya Ishvara. Let it continue throughout the life, even after understanding both are mithya. Even after understanding. But if you have not understood that, well, I as a jiva is mithya, then you consider yourself an individual that is real, then Ishvara also is real, and worship him. Worship him. Till you discover that, well, it is the individual and this total, jiva and Ishvara, both stand on a one entity. That's the reality, and that is Brahman. And that is everything is Brahman. So everything is Ishvara or everything is myself. Either way you can say. And then you will not have that hesitation so to worship. Ultimately, it is your manifestation, and you are worshipping yourself, no problem. Or you are worshipping Ishvara, no problem. Therefore, nothing to worry about. Om Purnamadav Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnamevavashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Hari Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Hari Om.